Hello, guys. This is Powerpreneur Signature Show, and it is all about reinventing yourself. And every 2 weeks, we bring a powerful entrepreneur who has seen it all, hit rock bottom, and has reinvented themselves. So, the whole purpose of the show is talk about a specific entrepreneur every episode, which can really motivate others to take some bold steps because we here have taken those steps and become powerpreneurs. So today we have an amazing, powerful entrepreneur, Chaz Horn, and I'm going to have Dr. McCoy introduce Chaz. So let's get started with a great introduction here.
Awesome. So, from homeless to top B2B salesperson in 9 unique industries, over 25 plus years, and spending over 18,000 plus hours on LinkedIn, he's developed a LinkedIn strategy to help his clients schedule over 36,000 qualified meetings. Wow. And they use his sales process to onboard over 7,000 new clients. This experience has given him insight into an ever changing marketplace where he is here to help you today, helping others to see their potential and helping them realize their potential is what drives Chaz. The intention to serve is at the core of all that he does. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Awesome. Yes, Brittany, Mansi, great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I didn't realize now I need to get like a badge. Powerpreneurs, that's cool. I like that.
You know what, Marcy? That's what we need to start doing. So we're going to start collecting addresses, and then we're going to start sending you guys out a badge of honor.
Yes, let's do that.
That's a good idea. Should we tell them that I was doing shots before the show?
Yes, let's talk about the type of shots that powerpreneurs do. Powerpreneurs do. Yeah.
Healthy shots.
Ginger, lemon, and cayenne.
I love
I'm going to take a shot of matcha after this.
All right.
Yes. So, this show, Chaz, is very special, and you're one of our first guests because we did last one. That was me and McCoy talking about what the show is and how we reinvented ourselves. Now it's bringing first guests. So you're very special because you are our first guest. And I've heard some amazing things. My coach, Shanae, she brought you on the call, one of the calls at Growthpreneur Academy that we were doing. And then I was talking to one of your clients, Ajay, and he had some amazing things to say about you. And I was like, wow. So Chaz, he lives by what he really talks every day. And that's what, of course, your posts are very, very empowering. So let's get started with, some of the questions that really makes us all curious, right? So how did you come about to start your business, and what was that turning point in your life?
Right. Well, it took me like 50 years because, people get so caught up with, I have a son who's 25, I have a daughter who's 22, and, it's easy to get caught up in, I don't know my purpose, my calling, my why, and life is long, especially when you do ginger shots and stuff like this. And there's all sorts of different things to keep our lives, living a lot longer today. So going back a long time ago, once upon a time, true story, I was living in my car. I was clueless, around 24 at the time. I was clueless, homeless, and I saw an ad for a B2B sales position. I needed a job. I needed money. So I interviewed and got the job. It was 100% commission. I was I was there for about 2 months, and I was like 119 out of 119 salespeople the whole time. Zero zip, not a sales. I was dead last. Excuse my language, I sucked at sales. And then my boss had me over one night, Ken Upton. That night he went from my boss to my mentor. And he pulled me aside by the fireplace talking to me, and he said, Chaz, these 3 words changed my life. You can be Now he followed that by the top salesperson in the company. But then he followed that by but. Don't you hate those big butts? 1T, by the way. Okay. So he said, but you have to follow the system. You have to follow the process. So I never thought I had much potential. Obviously, I'm living in my car. And so someone speaking into my life, you can be, and then followed by the top salesperson in the company, then giving me guidance and direction and what to do. So 45 days later, I wasn't the top salesperson, but I was number 3. And I moved out of my place with automatic windows. So from that point forward, I was always either near the top or top in sales. And I tried some side hustles and different things, and they didn't work out. So I kept going back to sales. And curious, or not a weird thing, something consistently continued to happen in all my positions. The boss, my manager, at these different places I worked, they would say, Chaz, would you help Sue or Bill or Sarah with sales? And when I helped them, I found that I was really a lot more fulfilled. And so it wasn't until I read a book called Chazon, which is Hebrew for God's passion for your life. It's spelled Chaz Own. Has nothing to do with me. And wow. I started doing this and started thinking about what Ken had told me. And I realized, if you go to Simon Sinek, start with why. My why is to help people see their potential and help them realize it. And so I approached my boss and said, I want to serve the salespeople here. And so he made me the national sales manager. But, thinking about all those places I worked, even though I did well in sales, I was living this successful career lie. Because Sunday night came around and it's like, man, I got to go to this job that I really do not like. So 2016, stepped out of my comfort zone, invested $11,000 for someone to help me start my business. And since then, as Brittany, now do you call her McCoy? Because you're referring to her as McCoy.
Let's do McCoy.
Yes.
Man.
You like McCoy? I think that's cool. I think that's cool. McCoy. Okay,
yeah,
so
it means the real thing.
As McCoy was saying, I started my business in 2016, and I spent literally 18,000 hours on LinkedIn because I knew sales, I knew marketing, but I didn't know LinkedIn. But I had used LinkedIn to eliminate cold calls when I was a national sales manager. So that's where I started, and there's been many iterations during the last 6 years. Sorry for the long response, but I just wanted to give you some background, some 411 on my
This
my
is
past.
your show. This is your show. So we would love for you to have longer responses. And so that's how it all got started, right? So my further question would be, I've heard that you talk about results of an intentional marketing strategy and sales process. What is that, and how is your process different?
Right. So early on, do McCoy, Mansi, do you guys have a partner in your life?
A life partner?
Uh-huh.
We are each other's partner.
We are each other's partner.
Okay.
We're not together like that, but no life partners.
Okay.
We're business partners.
Okay, so I was out the other day at the dog park. I was talking about my CFO, my chief fund officer, my dog, okay? So we were at the dog park, and I was walking behind this couple. And this wife said something to the husband, and the husband reacted, and then the wife reacted, and he said, "But dear," and she said this, and this is the core to answer your question, then I'll give you a little bit more detail. I'll drill down on this. She said, he said, "But dear, I only said," whatever it was. She says, "It wasn't what you said, it was how you said it." Right? And so the intention to serve is the foundation for our marketing strategy. It's the first step in our sales process. Now, when I started my business, full transparency, I had a mentor and he like really kind of spoke this in my life. I go, I like that. But it was like a head knowledge. You ever had a head knowledge of something and then all of a sudden sometime, someplace or time along the journey, it goes from head to heart knowledge?
Yes.
So it was a couple of years into my business. I mean, I teach people how to sell, okay? And this 1 month, they had like a 20% closing percentage. I mean, I was struggling with imposter syndrome and all these different things. And I'm like, man, what is wrong? What am I doing wrong? I knew enough to own my failure and ask myself the right questions like, what can I learn from this? What do I do to make sure I don't repeat this? And as we ask ourselves the questions, our brain will give us answers. You know, that's why it's important. The questions we ask ourselves determine the direction of our life. That's why if we play the victim, why does this always happen to me? Our brain's going to say something like, you're an idiot. So you got to ask yourself good questions. So I was asking myself this question, and it was like, I talk about intention to serve, but Chaz, quite frankly, you're so focused on making so much each and every month that the prospects and the clients are a step in your process to make that money. And so I was saying intention to serve, but I was intention to sell. And so when people can smell when they're being sold, okay? And so something happened where I got to that place. So in that instant, I had that paradigm shift, I had that aha moment, and I changed my goal from how many or what my money was going to be each and every month, quarter, annually, to how many people I was going to serve at the highest level each and every month. And you can't serve a prospect at the highest level unless they become your client. Right. And so my focus was to be serving my prospects through the process so they became my clients. It just that little change went from head knowledge to intention to serve to heart knowledge. In my closing percentage, I use onboarding percentage because I'd rather onboard somebody than close them. But I'm just using this for what's Chaz talking about onboarding percentage, okay? Now you know. So my onboarding percentage went from 20 to 75%, and now it's around 70, 75, 80. You know, like last month it was, like right now I'm at 100% for this month.
Wow. So
the intention to serve is at the heart of everything we do. And can I share a quick client story?
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, because it's like,
we would love to.
It's cool when you talk about your own experience, but when then you talk about clients and people get it a little bit more. So I have this client, her name's Kim, and she had like a 3% closing percentage. Okay, that's why she became my client, right? And I was talking to her about the intention to serve, and I said, Kim, and she was working with a lot of corporate clients who were just basically treating her like dirt. They're saying, follow up in a month, follow up in 6 months. You know, they're ghosting her. And all she's doing is following up. Anyone ever been ghosted? Okay. So she was the queen of being ghosted, right? Okay. So you can eliminate being ghosted. Maybe we can ask that question here in a little bit. But I said, Kim, you got to follow the process. You got to follow the system, just like Ken said with me way back when. And you have to understand, okay, you're equals. A lot of people, okay, here's your prospect, here's you. You are equals, but, there's that big but again, but you are the authority. Not only are you the authority in delivering your solution, your offer, and everything like that, but you have to be the authority controlling the conversation. Okay, people call it framing sometimes in sales. The person with a stronger frame controls the conversation. Not as an authoritarian, yes, as an authority, but not as an authoritarian, but as an authority. So you have to be the authority guiding and directing conversation. She was down here being subservient. Oh, thank you so much for meeting with me, Mr. Prospect. And then she would allow them. When you allow your prospect to guide and direct the conversation, it ends up a mess for you and for them. So I said, you need to take control. So here's the process. This is what you need to do. And so this is what I have a video of Kim that I'm going to share sometime, where she explains about what I'm about to explain to you. So she had this corporate client, or they weren't a client, and she emailed a proposal, which you never should do. Never ever email proposal. Okay. And they responded to her proposal. They redlined everything. They say, we need this price is too much here and that. And so what she did is she contacted them and said, intention to serve, right? So she said to the decision maker, she wasn't talking to the decision maker previously. She goes, I want to apologize. First and foremost, I shouldn't have emailed you the proposal. And I'm here to help you. I know that I can help you get from where you are to where you want to go, alleviate these obstacles, and get to the goals. Or I think maybe she said, but what I have down is going to work for you. Okay. And so I can't change this. And if you don't want to work with me, no worries whatsoever. So, and so she said this in a way, intention to serve, and she hung up it was like a 5-minute conversation. She hung up the phone and they were like speechless, she said. An hour later, she got a contract in the email because basically that's called going for no, but she was going with the intention to serve. So when you understand the intention to serve, it's not just being, like a limp noodle, allow them to control it. It's about, you can't serve them unless you control the process and the conversation. And you have to understand if they start to step in and try to control things, it's not good. So she took control and she said, we may not be a good fit. By doing that with the intention to serve, they became her client. There's like $150,000 yearly client that she signed up. And her closing percentage went from 3% up to like 35% now. So.
Wow.
So I gotta say, I admire what you do. So many people are afraid to start businesses because they're afraid of being salesy. I don't want to sell to my family. I don't want to sell to my friends. I don't know where to start. And I know that this product could do so much value for this person, but I don't want to feel like I'm selling to them. So hands down, I admire what you do. So now for a follow-up question, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that doesn't necessarily have that confidence, or they're afraid to be quote unquote salesy?
Yeah. And this is the beautiful thing about intention. Everyone can go with the intention to serve. And so that's usually the aha moment. Like for Kim, that was the aha moment. I got tons and tons of stories with they say, oh, wow, intention to serve. And when you understand, this is where people think sales is a problem, because you get that conversation, you get them in a meeting, you believe in your product, your service, your solution, but how do you transition from having that initial you got a meeting, yay! Now you're in the meeting, and this is where it gets awkward, because you're trying to like force feed them some information. It's like, have you ever been into a retail store, someone walks up to you and says, may I help you? Have you ever been there? What do you say?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
If I need you, I'll contact you.
Yeah, a lot of times just looking, which is a lie, because that in that we don't want to be sold. And so that's where people, the sticking point and where it gets really, really awkward. And so within the process, within an initial conversation, there's 4 things, and this will go to your question. So there's their agenda, there's your agenda, okay? There's agreement for duration of the meeting and ending with a clear next step, okay? That's, you end the meeting and you have a time and date for the next conversation. So you're not chasing, going after, being ghosted. So the first conversation, what's that?
I hope they're taking notes here.
Yeah, that's right. We can go into ghosting. I'll give you something that will eliminate ghosting here. Besides that in a second. So the first conversation, and this is where people get it wrong. It's about their agenda, not yours. And so you have to build rapport. And when you go with the intention to serve, you prepare for the meeting. And when you get into the meeting, you should understand it's real easy in today's age to see videos, understand speech patterns, because matching and mirroring is one of the ways that you connect with people. And find something that's similar for their background so that you can break the ice and start to build rapport and go, not to manipulate, because a lot of people do that, but go with the intention to serve. You build rapport, you want to build a relationship, and then after the rapport, I know we only have 20 minutes in the meeting today, Bob. What would you like to accomplish? That's something different. It's a pattern interrupt. And with what they say right then and there, they're not going into the meeting because they just wanted to show up. There's an interest in you, in your product, your service, your solution, right? So by just asking that question, the person who asked the questions controls the conversation. Just by asking that question, they're going to say, well, I see that you help people with X. Can you tell me a little bit more? And so then that way you're not trying to force feed. You can be very specific based on the question. And you say, oh, well, is there something specific that you're looking for? Then at a high level, you answer their question, and then you end the conversation to go into a deeper conversation, typically, if they're not going through an advanced funnel that's going right to an in-depth discovery session. But just by going in with the first conversation, agenda, agreement for duration of the meeting, and ending in a clear next step, their agenda drives the conversation in the first meeting. That takes out a lot of the awkwardness. And then you have to know and understand there's steps in the process to take them through. But it all starts with building rapport.
I love that. And you started with basically making it about them and not yourself. So for those people that are afraid to feel salesy, the thing is, when you're afraid to feel salesy, you're making it about yourself when in fact it should be about them. Right, Mansi?
I think that's
good.
The whole shift that needs to happen. And Chaz is the king of making that happen for his clients. So my next question is, we all get stressed, right, Chaz? Like, business comes with a lot of ups and downs. And, if you look at some of the memes, like the whole graph of emotional up and down throughout the day is what an entrepreneur life is all about. So how do you manage your stress? And do you have any pointers for our other powerpreneurs listening to this?
Yeah, I just, full transparency. I was up last night at 3:30 in the morning and just thinking about what this person thought about me. It's like, man, I'm like, what the heck? It's like, it's like it never ends. And if you look at people that are way up here, we all struggle with this. So I could go on and on and on and on. We could talk about, gut health, because I've been researching that. I just naturally have a propensity to be afraid. And a lot of people think when I say that, it's like, seriously? I'm like, seriously. I just don't allow that fear to stop me. So one of the things that I do is, our cortisol level is highest in the morning, the stress chemical. Now, cortisol is not always bad. I mean, we need that chemical, but it is the stress chemical and it's highest in the morning. So first thing in the morning, I learned by doing biohacks, and biohacks basically, what's a biohack? It's just something to improve your health quickly, okay? Like drinking a shot of ginger, lemon, and cayenne, okay? That's a biohack. Yeah, shot. Let's do another one. I might catch on fire if I do another one. So I started like Wim Hof. Are you familiar with Wim Hof?
Yes.
Okay.
Ice baths. Make it cold.
That's what he does this, but he has the Wim Hof breathing technique. And so I do ice baths every day. Those are amazing. I'll get to that in a second. But the first thing I do in the morning is I do the Wim Hof breathing. It's into your chest, into your belly, into your chest 30 times, and then breathing out 80%, then holding your breath. And so I do that 3 rounds of that. And like this morning, it's like, I was thinking about our interview today. I'm like, God, I'm not going to be, it's like in sleep and I'm worried. And so I did this. After that, I can literally feel the chemicals in my brain change. As a matter of fact, I have goosebumps on the back of my neck just thinking about it, because before I wake up stressed and I just go into the day. So by doing that first thing in the morning, and then I go into gratitude, I go into prayer and conversation with God, and I do my diaphragmatic breathing after that. While I call it thinkitation, which is
Thinkitation. I like that.
Yeah, I think, because I always struggle with like absence of thought when I'm doing like meditation. So I just I'll just think while I do diaphragmatic breathing. That I get some of my most creative, best ideas by doing that, by the way. It's amazing. I got some more goosebumps again. Then I do exercise with my CFO, my chief fun officer, my dog. First thing in the morning, we go out in the sun. It helps with maybe you guys, it's what's the terminology? The light, the sun, it changes what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe I'll think about it after this interview. But I go out and I get sunlight.
Term that's
it changes the circadian rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the sunlight, okay? By getting out in the sunlight, it changes. And if you're not in sunlight, even if it's cloudy, you got to get outside. And plus, I do exercise, so it helps with the cortisol level. And then coffee is a big one. And then I take an ice bath. And I'll tell you what, the ice bath, I've been dragging this stress, and sometimes in the middle of the day, I'll do like a cryotherapy. I like full immersion better than the cryotherapy, but 20 minutes after doing an ice bath, I could be stressed, dragging, and it's like, bam. So those are some things I do for stress. Another thing is just really focusing on gratitude. Can I talk about this a little bit on gratitude?
Go ahead.
Because this was life-changing.
Yours.
This is your show.
Okay.
Talk about everything.
This is my show. Okay, so I want to sing a song for you all. Are you ready?
Okay, let's do it.
You know what? We'll leave our audience. We'll lose our audience. So just messing with you. So I got really sick in 2020, and I would wake up and I would start to think about, I can see, I can hear, I can smell, I can taste, I have shelter, I have clothing. And that took my mind off of how I felt. And I could feel the chemicals change in my brain then to all the things that I had. And if you think about, here's a quick hack for everybody. I used to focus on all the things I had to do. Like I had to go to work on Monday morning when it was Sunday evening, right? I hated that. That's why I started my business. But when I focused on all that I not had to do, but all that I have and get to do, as opposed to the things I don't have and the things I have to do, just that little, the way we talk, the story we tell ourselves determines the way we see life. So now when I wake up, it's like, I get to do this. Look at all that I have. And so joy doesn't come from, this was huge for me, because I always thought that in life, when I get to a certain place, I make a certain amount of money, I'm going to be happy. And it was always disappointing. Have you ever been there and tried that? It's like,
Oh, yeah.
And then
it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. And that's why my shirt says blessed.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So joy doesn't come from getting what you want. It appears when you realize all that you have and you get to do. And so just by changing our perspective, you can go from being unhappy, sad, depressed to having joy and happiness. So those are some things that I do to deal with stress. And like I said, I was up at 3 a.m, stressed out about what people thought about me. And so it never ends. So you need to have a way to deal with it.
So
thanks for that share.
Sure. That's great. And here's a question. Let's have an awesome question to end our session today. A lot of people have shame, right? And what people thought about that. And we literally live in a jail that is created in this free world that we live in, especially in America.
Question.
What is your advice for them? Because we all have been through that.
Wow. Okay. This is like, you guys broke the record for the number of times I got goosebumps during an interview. Seriously.
Yay!
Like,
That
all the
means
way to
it's
the
a
back.
great interview. I love it.
Yeah. It's all the way down all the way to my body. So, oh man, I lived in so much shame. I might get emotional here. Hold on a second.
Take your time.
Shame is a prison that keeps you from experiencing life. And I was there for most of my life. I suppressed all my emotions. That's how I was raised. And we're not responsible for how we were raised, but we are 100% responsible for correcting it as adults. And I'm not bagging on my parents. My parents, they were imperfect, and there were a lot of good qualities they helped me with. But one of the things that was bad is we never talked about anything, so we suppressed all of our emotions. And so I got to a really, really, really dark place. And by me sharing what I'm about to share, we'll bring this home. And so my mom died, my dad died. And all my life, I've been suppressing my emotions, and I could no longer suppress my emotions because that was just too much. I was not capable of doing it. And so I went through a really, really, really dark time. And it's like, at that point in time, I got the number one person in sales. I was in a place in time, I was really empty. I didn't understand my identity, homeless to top in sales. And I got to a place where I was like a legend in my own mind. Okay. All right. Which is an empty place to be. So this is how I was looking at life, because I was thinking, once you get to this place, as I was talking about before, happiness. So right during this time, my mom died, my dad died. I lost my job because I was going through this dark time, and that's my whole identity was in performing. If I didn't perform, and I wasn't, because I went from like top to, and so I went through a divorce, and I got to a place that the pain was so intense, and I wasn't comfortable talking about things like I'm about to tell you right here and now. And so it just made my darkness even darker. You guys ever hear that Simon Garfunkel song, "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend"? You ever hear that song? Okay. So that was like my life song, because darkness was my friend, as sad as that is. So I was in so much pain that I bought a gun. I've loaded it with hollow points. Those are the bullets that make sure that it obliterates anything in its path. And no note. I wasn't trying to get attention. I took the safety off. I put it to my head, and I started tapping my finger on the trigger. Okay. And every time I would tap it harder and harder and harder. I mean, this was it. And so it was like, I tapped it like 3 times, and then the 4th time I was going to tap it harder. And right about that time, my dog snarling, heard me knock. I had a knock at the door. "Hey, Louie," my CFO, "it's me knocking, not someone at the door." So if it wasn't for a knock at the door in 2004, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. And that was my brother, who never came over to my house unannounced. And he said he felt like God told him to go to my house. I wouldn't be here today. And so, to get to your question about shame, me talking about that is, I wouldn't talk about that for like about 12 years. And so when you talk about the things that you're ashamed of or that cause shame, it opens the prison, it breaks the shackles that keep you imprisoned. And, I know when I share this, I'll get judgment negatively from people. I know that. But by doing this, not only does it release yourself from being imprisoned, it also encourages and challenges other people. So it would be very selfish for me to go through a challenge and not talk about it with other people. Now, I'm select with who I share. I don't do this all the time. I just felt I'm comfortable talking with you guys and everyone else who's watching this. So to break free from shame, the most important thing is to start talking about it. And when you do it, it's like you can
It's a relief.
literally.
It's liberation.
It is.
Emancipation.
In your mind, exactly right. And you're like, other people like, oh wow, I struggle with that too. Thanks for sharing that. Because you know what? We all struggle. We all have shames in many of the same areas. So talk about your shame.
Because of the intention to serve to
yes. Others. Like Brene Brown, I mean, this is how she got popular. She started talking about her shame. And this is, I mean, she was someone who was influential in my life in this area and a lot of other people. And so today, I used to go from suppressing everything to now, I hate to be like transparent and authentic because everyone talks about it, but hopefully people can see just what I'm talking about today. That's how I truly, one of the value systems and how I live my life today.
I would say something rhymed. McCoy, something rhymed from suppressed to flourished. You know, that's where you are. Like you were.
Run with it, baby. Hashtag.
Wow, what a powerful 37 minutes we've had together, and we've just known you. You know, we've scratched the surface, and we've known you so much and that much. So we'd love to have you back sometime on the show. And how could how could our audience find you? Is there a website you'd want to put out there so they can look you up?
Yeah, well, first of all, we're here on LinkedIn or wherever you guys are streaming this. But if you see my name right here, it's right here underneath here, over here. If you just send me an email, Chaz Horn at chazhorn.com, firstlastname@firstlastname.com. If you want to have everyone that listens to this on the replay live, if you want to have a sales and marketing analysis, 20 minutes, I can analyze your sales process, your marketing strategy. There's no sales pitch. I can point out the problems, why they're happening, and give you a path forward to predictable sales. I use 5 things. Tactics, it's tabs. Tactics, technique. Yes, there's 2 T's in my tab. Tactic, technique, attitude, behaviors, and strategy. If you're having a problem and you're not attracting people to you predictably and onboarding new clients, it's going to be because of one or more of these 5 areas. So send me an email, put sales and marketing analysis. I'd be happy to connect, or just connect with me on LinkedIn. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Mansi McCoy. It's been a great conversation. Great questions.
It's an honor to have you, and thank you so much for making such an amazingly powerful show with us. You are a true powerpreneur. So your tag is on its
badge.
way. Yes, it's gonna come through.
I'll wear it next time.
We'll talk to our VA after the call.
Yeah, let's do that. So all the second timers, yes, let's do that. I love it, Chaz. You gave us a great idea. So keep watching, guys. Keep empowering yourself, because we, the powerpreneurs on the show, empower ourselves by our intention to serve you and empower you. That's right.
Man.
Awesome. Thank you for your authenticity. We know that our audiences enjoyed this just as much as we did. So you guys go out and have a powerful week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chaz.